Now read this. Hello and welcome back to Now Read This, the story of King Arthur and his knights by Howard Pyle, Chapter 3rd, How Sir Pelleas Did Battle with Sir Engamore, otherwise the Knight of the Green Sleeves, and of what befell the Lady Ettard. Now, Sir Pelleas and his party, and the damsel Parcenet, and her party travelled onward until after a while in the afternoon they came unto the utmost boundaries of the forest, where the woodland ceased altogether, and many fields and meadows, with farms and crofts, and plantations of trees all abloom with tender leaves, and fragrant blossoms, lay spread out beneath the sky. And Sir Pelleas said, "This is indeed a very beautiful land into which we have come." Whereat the damsel Parcenet was right well pleased, for she said, "Sir, I am very glad that which thou seest belikes thee, for all this region belongeth unto the Lady Ettard, and it is my home. Moreover, from the top of yonder hill one mayst behold the castle of Grantmesnle, which lieth in the valley beneath." Then Sir Pelleas said, "Let us make haste, for I am wonderfully desirous of beholding that place." So they set spurs to their horses, and rode up that hill at a hand gallop. And when they had reached the top thereof, lo, beneath them lay the castle of Grantmesnle, in such a wise that it was as though upon the palm of a hand. And Sir Pelleas beheld that it was an exceedingly fair castle, built altogether without of a red stone, and containing many buildings of red brick within the wall. And behind the walls there lay a little town, and from where they stood they could behold the streets thereof, and the people coming and going upon their businesses. So Sir Pelleas, beholding the excellence of that castle, said, "Certes, maiden, yonder is a very fair estate." "Yea," said Parcenet, "we who dwell there do hold it to be a very excellent estate." Then Sir Pelleas said to Parcenet, "Maiden, yonder glade of young trees nigh unto the castle appeareth to be a very cheerful spot. Wherefore, at that place, I and my companions in arms will take up our inn. There, likewise, we will cause to be set up 3 pavilions for to shelter us by day and by night. Meantime, I beseech of thee, that thou wilt go unto thy lady, thy mistress, and say unto her that a knight hath come unto this place, who, albeit he knoweth her not, holdeth that the Lady Guinevere of Camelot is the fairest lady in all of the world. And I beseech thee to tell that lady that I am here to maintain that saying against all comers at the peril of my body. Wherefore, if the lady have any champion for to undertake battle in her behalf, him will I meet in yonder field tomorrow at midday, a little before I eat my midday meal. For at that time I do propose for to enter into yonder field, and to make parade therein until my friends bid me for to come unto my dinner, and I shall take my stand in that place in honour of the Lady Guinevere of Camelot." "Sir Pelleas," said the damsel, "I will even do as thou desirest of me. And though I may not wish that thou mayst be the victor in that encounter, yet am I soothly sorry for to depart from thee, for thou art both a very valiant and a very gentle knight, and I find that I have a very great friendship for thee." Then Sir Pelleas laughed, and he said, "Parcenet, thou art minded to give me praise that is far beyond my deserving." And Parcenet said, "Sir, not so, for thou dost deserve all that I may say to thy credit." Thereupon they twain took leave of one another with very good will and much kindness of intention, and the maiden and the 3 pages went the one way, and Sir Pelleas and his 2 companions, and the several attendants they had brought with them, went into the glade of young trees, as Sir Pelleas had ordained. And there they set up 3 pavilions in the shade of the trees, the one pavilion of fair white cloth, the second of green cloth, and the third of scarlet cloth. And over each pavilion they had set a banner emblazoned with the device of that knight unto whom the pavilion appertained. Above the white pavilion was the device of Sir Pelleas, to wit, 3 swans displayed upon a field argent, Above the red pavilion, which was the pavilion of Sir Brandiles, was a red banner emblazoned with his device, to wit, a mailed hand, holding in its grasp a hammer. Above the green pavilion, which was that of Sir Mador de la Porte, was a green banner bearing his device, which was that of a carrion crow, holding in one hand a white lily flower, and in the other a sword. So when the next day had come, and when midday was nigh at hand, Sir Pelleas went forth into that field before the castle, as he had promised to do, and he was clad all from head to foot in that red armour which he had taken from the body of Sir Adresac, so that in that armour he presented a very terrible appearance. So he rode up and down before the castle walls for a considerable while, crying in a loud voice, "What ho! What ho! Here stands a knight of King Arthur's court and of his round table, who doth affirm and is ready to maintain the same with his body, that the Lady Guinevere, King Arthur's Queen of Camelot, is the most beautiful lady in all of the world, barring none whomsoever. Wherefore, if any knight maintaineth otherwise, let him straightway come forth for to defend his opinion with his body." Now after Sir Pelleas had thus appeared in that meadow, there fell a great commotion within the castle, and many people came upon the walls thereof, and gazed down upon Sir Pelleas, where he paraded that field. And after a time had passed, the drawbridge of the castle was let fall, and there issued forth a knight, very huge of frame, and exceedingly haughty of demeanour. This knight was clad altogether from head to foot in green armour, and upon either arm he wore a green sleeve, whence he was sometimes entitled the Knight of the Green Sleeves. So that Green Knight rode forward towards Sir Pelleas, and Sir Pelleas rode forward unto the Green Knight, and when they had come together, they gave salute with a great deal of civility and knightly courtesy. Then the Green Knight said unto Sir Pelleas, "Sir Knight, wilt thou allow unto me the great favour for to know thy name?" Whereunto Sir Pelleas made reply, "That will I so. I am Sir Pelleas, a knight of King Arthur's court, and of his round table." Then the Green Knight made reply, "Ha, Sir Pelleas, it is a great honour for me to have to do with so famous a knight, for who is there in courts of chivalry who hath not heard of thee? Now if I have the good fortune for to overthrow thee, then will all thy honour become my honour. Now in return for thy courtesy, for making proclamation of thy name, I give unto thee my name and title, which is Sir Engamore of Malverat, further known as the Knight of the Green Sleeves. And I may furthermore tell thee that I am the champion unto the Lady Ettard of Grantsmennel, and that I, against all comers, have defended her credit unto peerless beauty for 11 months, wherefore, if I do successfully defend it for 1 month longer, then do I become lord of her hand and of all this fair estate. So I am prepared to do the uttermost in my power in her honour." Then Sir Pelleas said, "Sir Knight, I give thee gramercy for thy words of greeting, and I too will do my uttermost in this encounter." Thereupon each knight saluted each other with his lance, and each rode to his appointed station. Now a great concourse of people had come down to the lower walls of the castle and of the town for to behold the contest of arms that was toward. Wherefore it would be hard to imagine a more worthy occasion where knights would meet in a glorious contest of friendly jousting. Wherefore each knight prepared himself in all ways, and dressed him his spear and his lance with great care and circumspection. So when all had been prepared for that encounter, an herald, who had come forth from the castle into the field, gave the signal for assault. Thereupon, in an instant, each knight drave spurs into his horse, and rushed the one against the other, with such terrible speed that the ground shook and trembled beneath the beating of their horses' feet. So they met exactly in the centre of the field of battle, the one knight smiting the other in the midst of his defences with a violence that was very terrible to behold. And the spear of Sir Engamore burst into as many as 30 pieces, but the spear of Sir Pelleas held, so that the Green Knight was hurtled so violently from out of his saddle that he smote the earth above a spear's length behind the crupper of his horse. Now when those who had stood upon the walls beheld how entirely the Green Knight was overthrown in the encounter, they lifted up their voices in great outcry, for there was no other such knight as Sir Engamore in all those parts. And more especially did the Lady Ettard make great outcry, for Sir Engamore was very much beloved by her, wherefore, seeing him so violently flung down upon the ground, she deemed that perhaps he had been slain. Then 3 esquires ran to Sir Engamore, and lifted him up, and unlaced his helm, for to give him air, and they beheld that he was not slain, but only in a deep swoon. So by and by he opened his eyes, and at that Sir Pelleas was right glad, for it would have grieved him had he slain that knight. So when Sir Engamore came back unto his senses once more, he demanded with great vehemence that he might continue the contest with Sir Pelleas afoot, and with swords. But Sir Pelleas would not have it so. "Nay, Sir Engamore," quoth he, "I will not fight thee so serious a quarrel as that, for I have no such despite against thee." And at that denial, Sir Engamore fell a-weeping from pure vexation and shame of his entire overthrow. Then came Sir Brandiles and Sir Mador de la Porte, and gave Sir Pelleas great acclaim for the excellent manner in which he had borne himself in the encounter, and at the same time they offered consolation unto Sir Engamore, and comforted him for the misfortune that had befallen him. But Sir Engamore would take but little comfort in their words. Now whiles they thus stood all together, there issued from the castle the Lady Ettard, and an exceedingly gay and comely court of esquires and ladies, and these came across the meadow toward where Sir Pelleas and the others stood. Then, when Sir Pelleas beheld that lady approach, he drew his misericordia, and cut the thongs of his helmet, and took the helmet off of his head, and thus he went forward, bareheaded, for to meet her. And when he had come nigh to her, he beheld that she was many times more beautiful than that image of her painted upon the ivory panel which he had aforetime beheld. Wherefore his heart went forth unto her with a very great strength of liking. So therewith he kneeled down upon the grass, and set his hands together palm to palm before her, and said, "Lady, I do very greatly crave thy forgiveness that I should thus have done battle against thy credit, for excepting that I did that endeavour for my queen, I would rather, in another case, have been thy champion than that of any lady whom I have ever beheld." Now at that time Sir Pelleas wore about his neck the collar of emeralds and opal stones and gold, which the Lady of the Lake had given to him. Wherefore, when the Lady Ettard looked upon him, the necklace drew her heart unto him with very great enchantment. Wherefore she smiled upon Sir Pelleas very cheerfully, and gave him her hand, and caused him to arise from that place where he kneeled. And she said to him, "Sir Knight, thou art a very famous warrior, for I suppose there is not anybody who knoweth aught of chivalry but hath heard of the fame of Sir Pelleas, the gentle knight. Wherefore, though my champion Sir Engamore of Malvoret hath heretofore overthrown all comers, yet he need not feel very much ashamed to have been overthrown by so terribly strong a knight." Then Sir Pelleas was very glad of the kind words which the Lady Ettard spake unto him, and therewith he made her known unto Sir Brandiles and Sir Mador de la Porte. Unto these knights also the Lady Ettard spake very graciously, being moved thereto by the extraordinary regard she felt towards Sir Pelleas. So she besought those knights that they would come into the castle and refresh themselves with good cheer, and with that the knights said that they would presently do so. Wherefore they returned each knight unto his pavilion, and there each bedight himself with fine raiment, and with ornaments of gold and silver, in such a fashion that he was noble company for any court. Then those 3 knights betook themselves unto the castle of Grantmesnle, and when they had come thither, everybody was astonished at the nobility of their aspect. But Sir Engamore, who had by now recovered from his fall, was greatly cast down, for he said unto himself, "Who am I in the presence of these noble lords?" So he stood aside, and was very downcast of heart, and oppressed in his spirits. Then the Lady Ettard set a very fine feast, and Sir Pelleas and Sir Brandiles and Sir Mador de la Porte were exceedingly glad thereof. And upon her right hand she placed Sir Pelleas, and upon her left hand she placed Sir Engamore. And Sir Engamore was still more cast down, for until now he had always sat upon the right hand of the Lady Ettard. Now because Sir Pelleas wore that wonderful collar which the Lady of the Lake had given unto him, the Lady Ettard could not keep her regard from him. So after they had refreshed themselves and had gone forth into the castle pleasaunce for to walk in the warm sunshine, the lady would have Sir Pelleas continually beside her. And when it came time for those foreign knights to quit the castle, she besought Sir Pelleas that he would stay a while longer. Now Sir Pelleas was very glad to do that, for he was pleased beyond measure with the graciousness and the beauty of the Lady Ettard. So by and by, Sir Brandiles and Sir Mador de la Porte went back unto their pavilions, and Sir Pelleas remained in the castle of Grantmesnle for a while longer. Now that night the Lady Ettard let to be made a supper for herself and Sir Pelleas, and at that supper she and Sir Pelleas alone sat at the table, and the damsel Parcenet waited in attendance upon the lady. Whiles they ate, certain young pages and esquires played very sweetly upon harps, and certain maidens, who were attendant upon the court of the lady, sang so sweetly that it expanded the heart of the listener to hear them. And Sir Pelleas was so enchanted with the sweetness of the music, and with the beauty of the Lady Ettard, that he wist not whether he was indeed upon the earth or in paradise. Wherefore, because of his great pleasure, he said unto the Lady Ettard, Lady, I would that I might do somewhat for thee, to show unto thee how high is the regard and the honour in which I hold thee. Now as Sir Pelleas sat beside her, the Lady Ettard had continually held in observation that wonderful collar of gold and of emerald and of opal stones which hung about his neck, and she coveted that collar exceedingly. Wherefore she now said unto Sir Pelleas, Sir Knight, thou mayst indeed do me great favour, if thou hast a mind for to do so. What favour may I do thee, lady? Said Sir Pelleas. Sir, said the Lady Ettard, thou mayst give unto me that collar which hangeth about thy neck. At this the countenance of Sir Pelleas fell, and he said, Lady, I may not do that, for that collar came unto me in such an extraordinary fashion that I may not part it from me. Then the Lady Ettard said, Why mayst thou not part it from thee, Sir Pelleas? Thereupon Sir Pelleas told her of that extraordinary adventure with the Lady of the Lake, and how that fair lady had given the collar unto him. At this the Lady Ettard was greatly astonished, and she said, Sir Pelleas, that is a very wonderful story. Nevertheless, though thou mayst not give that collar unto me, yet thou mayst let me wear it for a little while. For indeed I am charmed by the beauty of that collar beyond all manner of liking. Wherefore I do beseech thee for to let me wear it for a little. Then Sir Pelleas could refuse her no longer, so he said, Lady, thou shalt have it to wear for a while. Thereupon he took the collar from off of his neck, and hung it about the neck of Lady Ettard. Then, after a little time, the virtue of that jewel departed from Sir Pelleas, and entered into the Lady Ettard. And the Lady Ettard looked upon Sir Pelleas with altogether different eyes than those which she had before regarded him. Wherefore she said unto herself, Ha! What ailed me that I should have been so enchanted with that knight, to the discredit of my champion, who hath served me so faithfully? Hath not this knight done me grievous discredit? Hath he not come hitherward for no other reason than for that purpose? Hath he not overthrown mine own true knight in scorn of me? What then hath ailed me, that I should have given him such regard as I have bestowed upon him? But though she thought all this, yet she made no sign thereof unto Sir Pelleas, but appeared to laugh and talk very cheerfully. Nevertheless, she immediately began to cast about in her mind for some means whereby she might be revenged upon Sir Pelleas, for she said unto herself, Lo, is he not mine enemy, and is not mine enemy now in my power? Wherefore should I not take full measure of revenge upon him for all that which he hath done unto us of Grantmesnle? So by and by she made an excuse and arose, and left Sir Pelleas. And she took Parcenet aside, and said unto the damsel Parcenet, Go and fetch me hither presently a powerful sleeping draught. Then Parcenet said, Lady, what would you do? And the Lady Ettard said, No matter. And Parcenet said, Would you give unto that noble knight a sleeping draught? And the lady said, I would. Then Parcenet said, Lady, that would surely be an ill thing to do unto one who sitteth in peace at your table, and eateth of your salt. Whereupon the Lady Ettard said, Take thou no care as to that girl, but go straightway and do as I bid thee. Then Parcenet saw that it was not wise for her to disobey the lady, wherefore she went straightway and did as she was bidden. So she brought the sleeping draught to the lady in a chalice of pure wine, and the Lady Ettard took the chalice, and said to Sir Pelleas, Take thou this chalice of wine, Sir Knight, and drink it unto me according to the measure of that good will thou hast unto me. Now Parcenet stood behind the lady's chair, and when Sir Pelleas took the chalice, she frowned and shook her head at him. But Sir Pelleas saw it not, for he was intoxicated with the beauty of the Lady Ettard, and with the enchantment of the collar of emeralds and opal stones and gold, which she now wore. Wherefore he said unto her, Lady, if there were poison in that chalice, yet would I drink of the wine that is in it at thy command. At that the Lady Ettard fell a-laughing beyond a measure, and she said, Sir Knight, there is no poison in that cup. So Sir Pelleas took the chalice and drank the wine, and he said, Lady, how is this? The wine is bitter. To which the Lady Ettard made reply, Sir, that cannot be. Then, in a little while, Sir Pelleas his head waxed exceedingly heavy, as if it were of lead, wherefore he bowed his head upon the table where he sat. That while the Lady Ettard remained watching him very strangely, and by she said, Sir Knight, dost thou sleep? To the which Sir Pelleas replied not, for the fumes of the sleeping draught had ascended into his brains, and he slept. Then the Lady Ettard arose laughing, and she smote her hands together, and summoned her attendants. And she said to them, Take this knight away, and convey him into an inner apartment, and when you have brought him thither, strip him of his gay clothes, and of his ornaments, so that only his undergarments shall remain upon him. And when ye have done that, lay him upon a pallet, and convey him out of the castle, and into that meadow beneath the walls, where he overthrew Sir Engamore, so that when the morning shall arise, he shall become a mock and a jest unto all who shall behold him. Thus shall we humiliate him in that same field wherein he overthrew Sir Engamore, and his humiliation shall be greater than the humiliation of Sir Engamore hath been. Now when the damsel Parcenet heard this, she was very greatly afflicted, so that she withdrew herself apart, and wept for Sir Pelleas. But the others took Sir Pelleas, and did unto him as the Lady Ettard had commanded. Now when the next morning had come, Sir Pelleas awoke with the sun shining into his face, and he wist not at all where he was, for his brains were befogged by the sleeping draught which he had taken. So he said unto himself, Am I dreaming, or am I awake? For certes, the last that I remember was that I sat at supper with the Lady Ettard, yet here I am now in an open field with the sun shining upon me. So he raised himself upon his elbow, and behold, he lay beneath the castle walls, nigh to the postern gate, and above him, upon the top of the wall, was a great concourse of people, who, when they beheld that he was awake, laughed at him and mocked at him. And the Lady Ettard also gazed down at him from a window, and he saw that she laughed at him, and made herself merry. And lo, he beheld that he lay there clad only in his linen undervestment, and that he was in his bare feet, as though he was prepared to sleep at night. So he sat up upon the cot, saying unto himself, Certainly this must be some shameful dream that oppresses me. Nor was he at all able to recover from his bewilderment. Now, as he sat thus, the postern gate was opened of a sudden, and the damsel Parcenet came out thence, and her face was all bewet with tears, and she bare in her hand a flame-coloured mantle. Straightway she ran to Sir Pelleas, and said, Thou good and gentle knight, take thou this, and wrap thyself in it. Upon this Sir Pelleas wist that this was no dream, but a truth of great shame. Wherefore he was possessed with an extreme agony of shame, so that he fell to trembling, whilst his teeth chattered, as though with an ague. Then he said to Parcenet, Maiden, I thank thee. And he could find no more words to say, so he took the mantle and wrapped himself in it. Now when the people upon the walls beheld what Parcenet had done, they hooted her and reviled her with many words of ill regard. So the maiden ran back again to the castle, but Sir Pelleas arose and went his way toward his pavilion, wrapped in that mantle. And as he went, he staggered and tottered like a drunken man, for a great burden of shame lay upon him, almost more than he could carry. So when Sir Pelleas had reached his pavilion, he entered it, and threw himself on his face upon his couch, and lay there without saying anything. And by Sir Brandiles and Mador de la Porte heard of that plight into which Sir Pelleas had befallen, and thereupon they hastened to where he lay, and made much sorrow over him. Likewise they were exceedingly wroth at the shame that had been put upon him. Wherefore they said, We will get us aid from Camelot, and we will burst open yonder castle, and we will fetch the Lady Ettard hither to crave thy pardon for this affront. This we will do, even if we have to drag her hither by the hair of her head. But Sir Pelleas lifted not his head, only he groaned and said, Let be, messires, for under no circumstances shall ye do that thing, she being a woman. As it is, I would defend her honour, even if I died in that defence. For I know not whether I am bewitched, or what it is that ails me, but I love her with a very great passion, and I cannot tear my heart away from her. At this, Sir Brandiles and Sir Mador de la Porte were greatly astonished, wherefore they said unto one the other, Certes, that lady hath laid some powerful spell upon him. Then, after a while, Sir Pelleas bade them go away and leave him, and they did so, though not with any very good will. Sir Pelleas lay there for all that day until the afternoon had come. Then he aroused himself and bade his esquire for to bring him his armour. Now when Sir Brandiles and Sir Mador de la Porte heard news of this, they went to where he was and said, Sir, what have ye a mind to do? To this Sir Pelleas said, I am going to try to win me unto the Lady Ettard's presence. Then they said, What madness is this? I know not, said Sir Pelleas, but meseems that if I do not behold the Lady Ettard and talk with her, I shall surely die of longing to see her. And they said, Certes, this is madness. Whereunto he replied, I know not whether it is madness, or whether I am caught in some enchantment. So the esquire fetched unto Sir Pelleas his armour, as he had commanded, and he clad Sir Pelleas in it, so that he was altogether armed from head to foot. Thereupon straightway Sir Pelleas mounted his horse, and rode out toward the castle of Grantmesnle. And when the Lady Ettard beheld Sir Pelleas again parading the meadow below the castle, she called unto her 6 of her best knights, and she said unto him, Behold, messires, yonder is that knight who brought so much shame upon us yesterday. Now I bid ye for to go forth against him, and to punish him as he deserveth. So those 6 knights went, and armed themselves, and when they had done so, they straightway rode forth against Sir Pelleas. Now when Sir Pelleas beheld these approach, his heart overflowed with fury, and he shouted in a great voice, and drave forward against them. And for a while they withstood him, but he was not to be withstood, but fought with surpassing fury, wherefore they presently brake from before him and fled. So he pursued them with great fury about the field, and smote 4 of them down from their horses. Then, when there were but 2 of those knights remaining, Sir Pelleas of a sudden ceased to fight, and he cried out unto those 2 knights, Messires, I surrender myself unto ye. Now at that, those 2 knights were greatly astonished, for they were entirely filled with the fear of his strength, and wist not why he would yield to them. Nevertheless they came and laid hands upon him, and took him toward the castle. Upon this, Sir Pelleas said unto himself, Now they will bring me unto the Lady Ettard, and I shall have speech with her. For it was for this that he had suffered himself to be taken by those two knights. But it was not to be as Sir Pelleas willed it, for when they had brought him close under the castle, the Lady Ettard called unto them from a window in the wall, and she said, What do ye do with that knight? They say, We bring him to you, lady. Upon this she cried out very vehemently, Bring him not to me, but take him and tie his hands behind his back, and tie his feet beneath his horse's belly, and send him back unto his companions. Then Sir Pelleas lifted up his eyes unto that window, and he cried out in a great passion of despair, Lady, it was unto thee that I surrendered, and not unto these unworthy knights. But the Lady Ettard cried out all the more vehemently, Drive him hence, for I do hate the sight of him. So those two knights did as the Lady Ettard said. They took Sir Pelleas and bound him hand and foot upon his horse. And when they had done so, they allowed his horse for to bear him back again unto his companions in that wise. Now when Sir Brandiles and Sir Medor de la Porte beheld how Sir Pelleas came unto him with his hands bound behind his back, and his feet tied beneath his horse's belly, they were altogether filled with grief and despair. So they loosed those cords from about his hands and feet, and they cried out upon Sir Pelleas, Sir Knight, art thou not ashamed to permit such infamy as this? And Sir Pelleas shook and trembled as though with an ague, and he cried out in great despair, I care not what happens unto me. They said, Not unto thyself, Sir Knight, but what shame dost thou bring upon King Arthur and his round table? Upon this Sir Pelleas cried aloud with a great and terrible voice, I care not for them either. All of this befell because of the powerful enchantment of the collar of emeralds and opal stones and of gold, which Sir Pelleas had given unto the Lady Ettard, and which she continually wore. For it was beyond the power of any man to withstand the enchantment of that collar. So it was that Sir Pelleas was bewitched and brought to that great pass of shame.
Hey, you want to buy something? You can check the description for my books and audiobooks. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.